Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. I hope you are doing well. If you're new here, my name is Amanda, and on this channel I make quite literally whatever content I fancy making. And in today's video I have a slightly different one for you. It will be a follow-on from my series of Kenya safari videos that I've been putting up recently. So prior to this, I have uploaded an unboxing of some camera stuff, precisely this, my A7 III and my 100 to 400 millimeter lens. And after that, I did an unboxing of a sling bag, and in this video I am going to be showing you some of the images that I took during my trip, and also just giving you a very basic review of my experience using the A7 III and the 100 to 400 lens. But yeah, I'm going to keep this as casual as possible. I'll just treat this as I would showing relatives or friends the pictures that I took. It was really difficult for me to select some images because I have taken about 2,000 plus pictures, so to try and reduce that down so that we don't sit here for the next 5 hours was really difficult. So for some context, what I've gone and done, I'm looking over here because I have all of the pictures to one side. I'll put them on the screen as I talk about them. But I went on a trip. It was for, was it 9 nights or was it 10 nights? One of the two. And I spent the time in between 3 locations. So we'll start obviously at the start. So I arrived in Nairobi, and the first place that I stayed at was this lovely place called the Residences at Karen. It was in the area Karen. And on one of the particular, so I spent 2 nights there. On the first and only technically full day there, we went to Nairobi National Park, which was really interesting to go to a national park that is in a city. It is absolutely such a strange experience to be seeing all of these animals and know that you're in the city. So yes, the first image that I'm showing you now is another safari vehicle that was coming from the left, and it created a dust cloud behind it. I thought that was very classic safari shot, and I really like how this one came out. You can see that the vehicle is in focus, and then I like how blurry the foliage is in the front, but also how crisp it looks behind the vehicle. Overall, I really like this shot. And then here is a video of some impala. Impala were like a huge part of my trip in general. I cannot tell you how many of these we saw all the way throughout, regardless of where we were in Kenya. There just appears to be masses of them, and they weren't even like an animal I had in my mind that I would see. As long as I saw giraffes, everything was fine in the world. Speaking of giraffes, here is a clip of a giraffe chewing. Oh, I love how crisp this is, and that's one thing I was slightly wary, or yeah, slightly concerned about before the trip, was how heavy this lens is. Honest to God, it is so heavy, and I thought, how am I going to get any good footage? I'm really going to have to try my best to have a steady hand. But what was amazing is that the lens has inbuilt stabilization, and the camera also has inbuilt stabilization. So I have quite shaky hands. I also don't have you know, the strongest hands or wrists in the world, but I was still able to get some really nice shots of the giraffes and other animals, which was wonderful. This is a picture that I absolutely love. So I believe the giraffe was mid-chew, but it kind of looks like it's like surprised, like it's shocked. Here is another shot of the giraffes, and behind them you have the cityscape, which is wonderful. Another one slightly further out, more visibility of the giraffes and the buildings in the background. Really, really cool. I think this picture would have worked even better if it wasn't such a gloomy day, but I think it still looks really, really cool. And then the last image in this series for the first day of the trip was this rhino with a bird on its back, which I can't currently remember the name of this bird, but this bird works really in conjunction with a lot of animals in the wild. You'll see them a lot on giraffes as well if you ever go on a safari, and they are basically eating all of the, like, you know, critters and things that are on them, basically like an inbuilt dry cleaner, if you will. Okay, and then moving on to when we left, after that really jam-packed day in Nairobi, it was time to head off to our first camp. We went to Pejeta, or I think that's how they say it, Pejeta or Pejeta, something along those lines. I'll put the name on the screen. And it was just lovely. If I were to go on a safari again, this is a place that I would 100% go back to. So, right, one of the first things that I saw on arrival were these giraffes, a mum and baby giraffe. Oh, I can't tell you how excited I was to see this. And also, one of my friends, she absolutely adores giraffes, and so I was trying my absolute best throughout this entire trip to get some good shots of giraffes so that I could gift her a picture. I hope she isn't watching this video, because that will have just given away her Christmas present. Fingers crossed. I also saw some elephants as well. I liked the way these two elephants had their heads nuzzled together. I don't know. I just thought it was quite sweet, quite endearing. So yeah, I thought I'd capture that, and I felt it came out quite nicely. It's really nice and clear. And I also decided to take some video footage. I didn't take a lot of video footage during this trip, but I did manage to get some footage of this elephant who was, I think, cleaning its trunk, I think, or maybe trying to cool it down, and then also decided to have a little bit of water. As you can see, there is a little bit of moving around of the camera here. This is because probably my hand was falling off due to the weight of the lens. Also, I would have probably at this point been in a seated position and not using a beanbag, but a lot of safari vehicles do actually come with beanbags. So if you are going on a safari and you are intending to take pictures, I would definitely say make the most of the beanbags in the vehicles. Okay, next image is these two just cows and a bird. I just found it interesting. No particular reason really why I took this, other than just like to see different animals interacting with each other, and it felt like one of the cows was looking at the bird like, hey, what are you doing? So I thought I would capture that. And then we move on to Ankoli cows, which I definitely had never heard of before then. This is some really shaky footage that I was just taking on arrival. This isn't for any good reason. I just was surprised to see these cows with horns. I'd never seen anything like it in my life, and decided to capture a picture of them because if I tried to tell somebody about it, I'm sure they would have thought I had seen a mythical creature and that I was imagining things. But something about them looks really majestic, you know? And I did find out actually that their horns are hollow and light, so they do look quite heavy and so like substantial, but they're not heavy at all, which is great. Okay, and then that evening we had a sundowner. A sundowner is essentially when you go out for an evening game drive, and then your driver will plonk you in one specific location, and whilst you're there you can have maybe some tea or a beer or some wine and some snacks. We were super lucky throughout this entire trip that every single day of the trip we saw lions, and on our first evening in Pejeta, we just sat in the vehicle amongst a whole family, a whole pride of lions, which was absolutely insane. So I took a few clips of the lions. And then I also managed to get some good photos as well that I really enjoyed. For example, this lion picture. I just think, it's just really lovely. If I was going to print a picture, this is one that I would print to have in my house. I also like this one where the lion is laying down and just looking at me. Slight curiosity, perhaps, in its eyes. And I love this one too, of these lounging, lazy lions. That's one thing that really shocked me is how chilled out and how lazy and sleepy they were. But yeah, just seeing the pad of its foot just dangling in the air, super chilled out. Never mind me, I'm just having a little snooze over here. And then that evening we headed back to the camp. Every evening they would light a fire for us to enjoy. And yeah, that was the, day 2. Okay, then we move on to day 3, and I started the day literally as the sun was rising, and I got this lovely picture of the sunrise. I love this image. One thing about me, I love taking pictures of the sky. If you looked in my camera roll on my phone, it would just be food and the sky and maybe some pictures of flowers and plants. I just love it. And this image, it's just warm. Like you can feel the warmth, you can feel it feels calm, it feels quiet, and it's really reflective of what those early mornings in the wild felt like. As this wonderful sun was rising, I was able to get this great picture of these 3 giraffes walking off into the distance. I love this picture so much. And then if you look further past the giraffes, you can also see some other animals. For example, there is a zebra on the left-hand side of the image. Just love it. And then here we have some bumps, some zebra bums. So if you look carefully, you'll see one is black and white, and then one is brown and white. And I had to note down what the difference was actually between the two of these at the time, because I don't think I'd ever seen a zebra that was brown and white. Have you ever seen a brown and white zebra? This is new to me, I have to tell you. It's definitely new to me. Let me find my notes, because this is what I did during the trip, and I would absolutely recommend this to anyone else that goes on such a trip. Keep a note of what you saw and what you captured on each day, so that when you come back home and you're reviewing the pictures, it's easier for you to identify what the thing is in the image, because some things have some crazy names that leave you just kind of scratching your head like, what, you know? Okay, so you've got the common zebra, which is the black and white one, and then you've got a pure gravies zebra, like a hybrid zebra, which is interesting. It was an education, to say the least, and I just like this picture. I don't know why, but I do like because you can see the colour difference. You can also see the stripe difference between the two. I don't know. I just really like it. But yeah. Okay, moving on to the next one. So we, as I mentioned, we went to Pejeta, and they have a conservancy, and so we went there and we saw Baraka, who is the rhino, a blind rhino that lives there. And this is a picture of Robert, who works there, and he was feeding Baraka, and he took us also to feed Baraka as well. Sweet rhino. Sweet rhino. And I love this picture. Right, and then another thing was this picture of a cheetah with its head just poked out of the grass, and another shot of the cheetah in action. So if anyone's curious, throughout the trip we saw 4 of the big 5. The only one that we were unable to see is the most elusive one of all, the leopard. No chance of seeing the leopard, unfortunately, during our trip. But maybe in the future, if I go on another safari, maybe I might have better luck. I think there might be some in the South Africa area. I've watched like some videos, and I'm pretty sure it feels like everyone that's gone on a safari in South Africa has seen a leopard. And South Africa in general is a bucket list item. So I suppose I could kill 2 birds with 1 stone one day when I make it to that side of the world. But yeah, moving on to the next one, we have a lilac-breasted roller, one of the most beautiful birds I have ever seen in my life. So gorgeous. And I was able to capture it up against the whiteness of the sky. It almost just looks like it's kind of dangling there. And you could just see the vivid blue and purple. Just a gorgeous little bird. And I'm so grateful it didn't move and it allowed me to take the picture. Because you never know with birds, they can get a little bit like, like, what do you want? Are you trying to eat me? Please go away, human. But this one stayed for long enough that I would be able to capture a picture of it. And then it was off home again, back to the camp. I can tell you there are so many more images in between what you just saw and the and the video, but again, I don't want to hold you hostage for a really long time. Okay, moving on. Day 4. Okay, we're on day 4. What did we see on day 4? A lion yawning. I love this shot so much. Look at it. Isn't it great? Look at the teeth. You can see the roof of the mouth, all of the finer details, the tongue. You can see all of the fur. I love it. I just love it. And I can tell you, these lions like I said, they were yawning. If there was medals going for who can yawn the most, we we would have wiped out all of the medals that were available in the whole world that had ever been manufactured. A very yawny bunch. But yeah, I love this shot so much. I love it. I love it. And what I love also, if you look at the blades of grass around the line, some are in focus, some are more blurry. Ugh, love it. So again, giraffes, they are my absolute favourite animal. So at every single point, I had to photograph them. And this is a journey of giraffe, that's what they call them. So when they're all walking one behind the other, moving to wherever they're moving to, that is called a journey of giraffe. And I love this because you've got the yellowness of the grass in the forefront, and then in the back you've got the lush green, and you can see that the green and the land just keeps going. And that's another thing that my brain was just trying to fathom the whole time that we were there, the fact that it was just green, like just green all the way. It's like my eyes couldn't see all that was to be seen. It's just wild. It was just such a wild experience. Again, another shot of the lilac breasted roller, much closer up. A little bit of a grumpy face on this one, but I love it. Such a gorgeous bird and captured so nicely by the camera and the lens and myself, if I do say so myself. Again, I love the positioning of the bird. I love that the background is blurred, but you can still see that there is sky and there are trees. Oh, I just love it. This bird is beautiful, and I would absolutely print this off in an absolute heartbeat. Okay, and now just sharing with you a video of one of our bush breakfasts. So this was an option while staying in camp. You could have your breakfast in camp, or you could wake up early and then head out, and they would find a lovely spot for you to sit down, eat some yummy breakfast. I cannot tell you the amount of crepes that I ate on this trip. Something about me, you can always count on me to go on holiday and come back a little bit rounder, because I will. I will indulge, okay? And I will give you every excuse under the sun as to why I need to eat crepes every single day. Whilst I'm on that trip, I was eating and I was enjoying, and I wasn't doing much exercise other than stepping up into the vehicle and then stepping down into the vehicle. But I don't know, it was for my birthday enjoyment, you know? Calories don't count, do they, guys, when you're on holiday? But yeah, after that, we headed to this part of the conservancy where they had apes. And I've got this picture of one that was laying down, and it appears to be looking right at my camera lens. I don't know how I feel about this picture. I feel like he looks a bit like sad, but I don't know if I should just perceive it as him being chilled and relaxing. I don't know. Let me know. Does he look sad? I don't know. And then I got this one as well. Really difficult to capture. Like, I spent so much time trying to get a picture, because what was happening was that the light was like in the wrong position. It just felt like I was fighting against the sun. But whilst also fighting against the sun, I was fighting against the fence. So when I figured out like my settings and everything, then it would be like, how do I get the camera to focus on the animal that is behind a fence? That was really difficult, because it was just tracking and it was trying to find the animal. And I would say this is the one time that I really, really struggled with the camera. So honestly, I'm quite pleased that I was even able to get this shot of this particular ape. It was so, so difficult. So, so difficult. Okay, and then the next shot is a really odd sort of one. So we have what I believe to be some impala in the front. I say believe to be because throughout this trip I was also getting Thompson gazelles and impalas mixed up. So it's one of the two. Okay. I can tell you that they are male, and that's as far as I can go with that storyline, okay? And then in the middle, we have a giraffe, and just off to the right, we have a zebra. I just like these images of being able to capture different animals in the same sort of space. I suppose maybe something I hadn't given much thought to before the trip was how many things would be so close that they could interact with each other. And it's nice to be able to see certain animals just kind of like chilling around each other, like they don't seem to even notice or care, which is interesting. So I liked, yeah, throughout this trip to capture as much of that as possible because in my brain I just had them in like, like zones, like the giraffes, the elephants, everyone kind of sticks to their own groups as such. But yeah, that is the last picture for day 4. We still have day 5, day 6, day 7, and day 8. So please bear with me, let's go. So, day 5, there's only 3 images to show you for this one. And the first one is this superb starling. Oh, again, I didn't expect to be taking pictures of birds on this trip. In my mind, I said, okay, I need to look for lions, I need to look for some giraffe, and I need to look for elephants. And that was all I was thinking about the trip. All the other animals kind of disappeared into the back of my mind, and birds weren't even on the list at all. But there are some beautiful birds in Africa, in Kenya, and I bet you there are even more birds in other parts of the continent that I haven't seen, and maybe one day I will get to see. Apparently, now birding is something that I find interesting. Who would have known? But yes, this is a superb starling, gorgeous bird that decided to come along and watch us eat our lunch and stare at us the entire time. And that evening, I got to see a sunset. Isn't it gorgeous? Ugh, I just love the warmth. I can just feel it. Looking at it, I can just feel it. And it's just gorgeous. It's just gorgeous. Right, then day 6, it was time to go again to the next stop. In the next stop, we were going to the Mara, the Masai Mara, the place that all individuals would like to go to when they go to, Africa to go on a safari. I feel like it's either you go to the Masai Mara or you go to Tanzania. That's what it feels like. However, I would say that my time at Pejeta, I really enjoyed actually more than the Masai Mara because it is so. Pejeta is more like, yes, there were other people there were other vehicles there, but it wasn't as busy as the Mara. You'd get to a sighting of a lion, and I swear to you, you would see about 10 vehicles surrounding the lions. And I mean, in Pejeta, there would be like 1 or 2 other vehicles. So it was a lot of like, one group tries to take a picture, then, you and your guide go and move forward to get a picture, and it wasn't the same. But anyway, when I got there on the airstrip, I saw this giraffe, which I thought was cute. And I also saw a wildebeest. And now I did not expect to see a wildebeest because we went in June, and everyone says if you want to go and see the migration, you have to go like much later. But I wanted to go in June. So this was a wildebeest, and we were told that this one would have been one that was left behind as they did the migration from Kenya to Tanzania. I also got this shot of these zebras, and this is something also that I was told on the trip, that a lot of animals, you'll see them like one standing in one direction and the other standing in another direction, and they're essentially watching each other's back, which I think is so good. And I love this. You know, I don't know, it just shows like togetherness, and I think it's lovely. If only humans could be as considerate and nice to each other and watch each other's back, you know? Right, day 7. Okay, so starting with this olive baboon in a tree. I just like this shot. I like that you actually, like, you can see that it's there, but it's almost like blending in. And I like the colors, the way that you can see the green of the trees and how the sun is like sort of creating this yellowy hue in the background. I just like this shot. He was just chilling out, relaxing. And if you look super carefully, there is another one that is near the bottom. It's not in focus, but there is definitely another olive baboon in that shot. And this is a toppy. I had never heard of a toppy. And to be honest, when I first saw the toppy, I said to myself, am I going mad? Because what is that mythical looking creature in the distance? And because literally they like to stand on termite mounds. And I was like, that doesn't look right. Like, what is that? What is that thing? And honest to God, I'm still confused at what a toppy is and why it looks like that. I just think it's crazy. Creation is crazy, and I see things like the toppy, and I'm like, please, how has how why are there so many different animals? And I'm just honestly just in awe, especially as a Christian, absolutely in awe of God's creation, that He's made all of these different types of animals. Like, crazy, wild. Anyway, next picture, this bunch of giraffes. I like this shot. So they're kind of all looking around, and you've got the classic Mara type trees in the background and the vast landscape. I love this shot so, so much. Oh, I just love it, love it, love it, love it. And yes, I have nothing else to say. I just, honestly, I just love it. And again, this is probably a picture that I would print also. And then we have some buffalo. Note the baby buffalo. Look at the baby. It's so cute. Oh my goodness. Absolutely adorable. I saw a lot of buffaloes on this trip as well. Lots of buffalo. And one thing that we learn is that a lone buffalo is dangerous, but a group of buffaloes not so dangerous. So keep that in mind, I suppose. if ever you see a buffalo, I really hope that you never see a buffalo when you're on foot. If you do, tell God I said hi. Okay. Here is the baby buffalo again. Oh, look at the baby and its little horns coming in. Such a cute little thing. So sweet. So, so sweet. And then we move on to some lions. And this is where I want to talk about lighting and swift lighting changes. This was a situation where 1 minute the lions weren't there, and next minute the lions appeared. And the sun was like, figure it out, Amanda, think fast. So this first picture I like, but also I found it to be too bright. So I sorted out, the settings really quickly on my camera. This one, I love this picture. It looks really moody. It's a whole different vibe from that first image. They're both, I think they both work, but like there's something about that depth of color, the deep greens and the deep like browny orange of the fur. It just looks different and I love it. Absolutely love it. Okay, that's day 7. And we're on to the last day, day 8. And I'm literally only showing you one image because, again, guys, I really don't want to hold you hostage. And this is a picture that I took from inside the safari vehicle of an elephant that was walking past. And I just like this shot. I just like how casual it is. This was taken, all of these images were taken with the 100 to 400 millimeter, which is why this is so like close up. So I was sat, so the safari vehicle, it had, with the driver, and then it had another row, and then it had another row. I was sat in the middle, and it was just kind of me positioning right across where the passenger at the front of the vehicle was, and that is the shot that I got. But yeah, I had a really wonderful time taking all of these images, and I honestly would recommend the Sony A7 III. I think it's a great option if you want to get into mirrorless cameras. If you're like just somebody that likes taking pictures, you don't have to pay an arm and a leg to get good quality images. Yeah, I think it's a good camera. I mean, yes, it came out years and years ago, but it still performs, it still does an absolutely great job. It works really quite well in low light conditions, which is great. As you saw, it was good for birds, it was good for giraffes, so big and small subjects. The camera body like itself is super light, so without the 100 to 400, it is literally like carrying air. And also it means that when carrying it with the 100 to 400, you're not already carrying a very heavy camera body with a very heavy lens, because I honest to God, I don't know what I would do if the camera body was any heavier than that. Again, we have the inbuilt stabilization, which was a godsend, because on a safari you are like this in the vehicle, you don't know if you're going left or right. 100% recommend, if you are going on a safari, you need to use a strap that's around your neck, otherwise you may watch your camera fly out the window. And at that point, only God can help you. Okay? But yeah, I would absolutely recommend. I don't know what else to say other than that. If you're thinking of getting a Sony A7 III, go for it. If you're thinking of getting a 100 to 400 millimeter lens, go for it. I mean, the one positive is that if you buy it, you can always try it out, test it out. Because that's what I did at first. I tested it out in the garden just to see, okay, how does this work? How does this range work? Because working from 100 to 400 is quite a difference. And just making sure that you get the correct settings. I am thinking of doing a video where I outline the precise setup that I used whilst in Kenya, because I set up my camera to use program mode and aperture priority. From memory, which one did I use? I think it was program mode, I think. I'll know when I check my notes when I do that video, but yeah, do let me know actually if you'd find that video helpful. Something to consider anyway. But yeah, I really hope that you enjoyed this video. I really hope you enjoyed seeing these pictures and also the clips as well. I had a wonderful time in Kenya. I would absolutely recommend going to Kenya on a safari. Kenyans, they were just amazing. Also, if you go, try the Kenyan tea. British tea, Kenyan tea. Kenyan tea has one, because I actually don't even drink caffeine anymore. But the way I was putting that tea back, my goodness, you would have thought that it was the blood running through my veins. absolutely 100% recommend. But anyway, I really hope you enjoyed this video. I will see you in the next one. Take care and enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.